Hello and welcome to the Daily Brown Bag. Today we're going to be talking about why long-tail keywords are good for small businesses. I'm Chad Hill and I'm joined by Adam Stetzer.
Hey, good afternoon, Chad. Welcome to the Brown Bag. Long-tail keywords is a fascinating topic for us, Chad, and I think for people who are just, small businesses in particular, who are just getting into creating content and thinking about keywords and trying to understand how the search engines work, it's pretty important. And I know there is a little bit of a steep learning curve. We talk about this in training. We talk about this with our SEO reseller community quite a bit, that starting to understand how Google thinks, so to speak, I know it's a machine, but how to organize your thinking around keyword is fairly important. And we have to be a little careful here, Chad, because of course the Google guidelines say you should not be doing anything explicitly with the intention of manipulating rankings. And we always say you should not write directly for the search engines, and by no means are we saying that you should abandon that principle. However, it is also very, very smart when you're generating great content to be thinking about tips and tricks for how to position that content so it does well on the search engines. And there are certainly things you can do that will help your chances, even though you're creating great content for a great audience. And that leads us straight into keywords and what the topic we're covering today, which is long-tail keywords. Keyword research, I think we believe, Chad, it should be the foundation of a lot of the things that you do when you're working on your website and trying to position it well for the audience and for the search engines. Keywords are, at the end of the day, how people find you and your content, because it's how Google is organized and how it indexes the entire internet and how the search engine ultimately decides who to rank and who to show and bring that traffic. So you need to know your audience, of course, and know your desired audience, but beyond that, you also have to think about how they might search for you and what keywords they would be looking for you under, so that as you're generating content, you're making sure you're getting in front of that target to maximize your content generation efforts. And this brings us into this discussion of long-tail keywords, Chad, and I think we should start with, well, what exactly is a long-tail keyword?
Yeah, and Adam, it definitely, as you said, it's very important to start with the research, but you have to understand what you're looking for. So a long-tail keyword, really what it means is that if you think about the tail, or a typical distribution, at least with what people refer to in search engines as head terms. The head terms are those shorter phrases like, for example, maybe auto repair or plumber or doctor, where there's a lot of volume, but they're also very competitive. And then what happens is, as you go down with longer phrases, the longer you get, the less volume there is searches each month on that term. But what people typically say is you add up all of those small keywords, you actually have fairly substantial amount of search volume with these longer tail phrases. So here's an example of a long tail phrase. I use the example of auto repair. So a long tail phrase instead of auto repair might be Honda Accord brake repair. So instead of just auto repair, which is very general, you can actually go more specific, longer tail with specifying the make and the model, and then a specific service that you provide. And then if you're a local business, you might even want to add on to that you are the best Rochester or Arlington, Virginia person that does brake repair for Honda Accords. So that's really the idea behind a keyword, a long-tail keyword. And it's important for a couple reasons, because as I said earlier, those are easier, they're less competitive phrases. So the really big websites out there that have all the domain authority and probably have a lot more organic traffic than your normal Main Street business have already gone out and optimized their websites for the more competitive phrases. They're able to rank on them. But the smaller website out there, who's very local, very specific, needs to go after less competitive phrases, because those first 10 slots on page one, you're probably not going to be able to compete with those on the real competitive phrases, nor do you really want to rank nationally on the term auto repair. You don't really want to be taking phone calls from California for someone who wants to fix their brakes. You want local businesses. So that's the idea behind a long tail phrase. And I think, again, like the idea here is that they also help, they're better converting phrases, right? So someone who is in a position to handle phone calls across the country for auto repair, they have a call center ready to go. You're a local business. Those people looking locally for a brake repair for a Honda Accord, in this example, are going to be much more likely to convert and come to your shop. So again, they're easier to rank on, and they're also basically, you're going to get a better conversion rate. But before we end this, Adam, I just want to make sure that what we want to say very specifically, long tail keywords still should have a monthly search volume, because there is sort of an old trick in the SEO game where companies would go out and say, we'll get you to rank on, I think our favorite one was Toyota Tundra Chattanooga new car or something. And if you look at that phrase, there's just not enough volume to really make it for it to matter that you rank on that phrase. So you need to sort of balance out the competition against the actual number of searches each month. So there you have it, Adam.
Well, that's excellent. I think so that research is key. I think getting these long tail phrases on your site will help the head term and help you develop overall authority on many different variations of this phrase. And as you said, you got to pick them wisely. So they're not too hard, but they do have some value. They're in the right ballpark. And I think the last reason I would add to this discussion, Chad, of why it's important to do long tail keyword research and on-site SEO is it really helps with the motivation and the understanding of the SEO process, which is particularly slow and I know for some very frustrating. And you can see things happening a little more quickly with very long tail, low competition words. And people may discount this advice, but I've seen it over and over again. You need to see the results from your work to understand what's working and what isn't, and to have a little bit of motivation. And there's no better way to learn than by doing it. So we really encourage you to get out there and try it, use some of these long tail strategies and see what works for you.